Okay guys, so we now learn how to pass information to PHP and how to receive the information in PHP. Let's continue the work. So this is step number 1 to pass and receive information in PHP. Let's now continue this step. What we want to do is this information, this is where just only checking. This is if statement. So as the next step, we want this information to assign to variables which we will be later on passing to the server. Okay, so for that purpose, so no one can hack these values from outside while we will be sending requests to register.php, we need to use a very safe method. So I'll create one variable which is email, and here $_request, then square brackets, and here we will write email in the quotation marks, and I will save it and I will echo email. I will echo this. Okay, we are now coming back to our project. Here we had a gender. So you see now it's throwing us back the email which we have passed. But it's not safe to use it in this way. What we will do is this value, we will try to encrypt it. We will code this value. So for that purpose, I'll write here HTML entities. This is the one. So we will use encryption. So when we use this HTML entities, it will secure this value from injection or from hacking. Okay, so this is what I will do for all the values which we're receiving in this PHP to prevent hacking. So then I create first name equals to HTML entities. Here write first name. Make sure that these values are identical. It is must. Then we've got last name equals to HTML entities. Then write this code. Then we have got the password. Password equals to HTML entities. In the round brackets we write request and the square brackets, quotation marks, password, and semicolon. Don't forget the same we're doing for the birthday. Birthday equals to HTML entities. Then we write request, square brackets, quotation marks. We write birthday, and we're closing this with a semicolon. Then we got the gender. Gender equals to HTML entities, $symbol underscore request, square brackets, then quotation marks. We write gender, semicolon. We're closing this. So we got 6 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now just make sure that these keys are identical as I already warned you, because if this won't be matching, then you won't be able to send certain value where you got mistake to the server. Okay, so these are the values which we are passing, but if you remember, we had a one value on the server which is salt. So what is the logic we use salt for? Let's say guys that our password will be 1 2 3 4 5, while salt will be some randomly generated value. Let's say of the same 5 characters. It can be some randomly generated value, like this will be password, and the salt will be, let's say something like this. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so how it will be stored? Under password we will not store 1 2 3 4 5. Under password we gonna store these two strings, password plus the salt value, encrypted together. And this value, while we encrypt, it will look something like this. So this we will store under password. Under salt, we will store this value. So while logging in, what we will do is when the user will type this one, and we will take salt from the database, this one. If encryption will give us this result, then we'll process login. So this is the logic. Okay. Let's now come back to our NetBeans. Let's create now the salt value. So dollar symbol salt, so we declare a new variable equals to HTML entities. Here we write dollar symbol underscore request square brackets quotation marks, and here we will, oops, one mistake here, because we're not passing salt to the server, so salt will be generated in this file right over here. So we write open SSL underscore random pseudo bytes. So we will randomly generate bytes, means some value. So the length of this will be 20 characters. Now the very crucial moment, very important moment now. So this 20 characters must be equal to the value where you have salt of type binary 20 and you have a varchar password 20. Make sure if you use priorly here, let's say 100, you must be using 100 here, and you must be using 100 here. So just make sure that these values are equal, guys. This is very important. So here we are using safe method to cast received data, received in current PHP data, received data in current PHP. Okay, here we are generating random 20 characters pseudo. Okay, so what we are gonna do now, as we will not send to the database this value, which is in this case with the John Michael, where the password will be is 123, we are not going to send to the server 123 in order to avoid some general clerk of Facebook who is responsible for the database to find out your email address. So we'll even save the passwords from the Facebook employees as well. Okay, so in this case we will now create a new variable which we can use secured password or encrypted password. Okay, so for that case, encrypted password will be SHA1. So this is a special method for encryption, for using crypting. This is the special method. You can read about this in internet, SHA1. So even this one, a military one, it has been used during the Second World War, if I'm not mistaken. So we will, as I told you, we will crypt password plus the randomly generated string, which is salt, and we'll get something like this. Okay, so here we will write password which we have received to current file, then we'll put dot. Those who are familiar with the PHP, this means concatenate, so it means 1 2 3 the password and concatenated with the salt. Here we write salt, and don't forget semicolon. So this code means this will let it look like this. This will let it look like this. And this will let it look like something similar to that one. So you got it. This is what we're going to store in our server. So this was another part of the step number 1. This is how we are passing and receiving the information. And let's now echo encrypted password. encrypted password, and we can come back to our browser and check. So you see this is how the password will be stored. And let's try to echo salt. Don't forget to save. So this will be salt. And the password will be, don't forget, save your file always when you do changes. So this is our password. Okay, make sure that you don't have echo. And here already, as we're having the connection one, the step number 2 will be establish connection with the server. As you remember, step number 2 is connect to server. This is that one. Okay guys, so this is how we are casting all the information received to current PHP file, and this is how we assign the received information to the variables. Okay guys, excellent job, well done, congratulations.